and we need to map out this. It is not just going to be as relates to influential people, but everybody who is a stakeholder there. What message do we want to reach them with? So what I'll do is, after elections, I will take data, analyze why in a particular group people voted the way they voted, and on that basis, customize a curriculum that will be relevant to them. Thank you.
So how would you ensure that there is no capture of certain influential people, the stakeholder engagement process? I'm happy that you have a strategy that will take care of diversity, but how will you ensure that that process of stakeholder engagement is not captured by people who are influential? What mechanisms will you put in place?
What you do is reach out to everybody, those who are influential, because they're also stakeholders, and those who are not influential. Reach out to everybody and tell them, we are going to do what, we are going to talk to you in a particular place. For example, that's one. Two, why is it so difficult for us to hire young people from our universities as students during vacation and send them out to talk to people where they are about elections? This is not just a problem in Kenya. This is a problem everywhere, where voters need to be informed, even about the literal voting process itself. I would use, for example, students during vacation. Send them out with a curriculum for each group and tell them, this is what you are going to tell these people, this is what you are going to tell these people. At that point, I don't expect they will be captured by influential people. That would be one strategy that I can think of on top of my feet just now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fatuma. I will invite Nicodemus Bore to ask you some questions.
Thank you very much, and Prof. You have also received memorandum of oath from other people, and I'll read one that says, throughout his career, Professor Adwal has demonstrated a distinguished record of integrity, professionalism, commitment to public service. His leadership in academia and public administration has been characterized by adherence and transparency and accountability principles. What do you say about this?
Yeah, that sounds like me. That is the one that now sounds like me. So that is what I can say. That sounds like myself, and that is what I believe I have done for this country. Anybody who is trying to impute the kind of motive like saying, I am overbearing, I don't allow people to come to my office. Sorry for using this word, but I think they're wicked people who are out to make sure I don't make progress in this world. Thank you.
The reason I have brought this is I wanted to see the other side of you.
That is not the other side, Mr. Chairman. That is the only side. Honestly, that is the only side of me.
That is what I wanted to see. And we have noted that as a leader, you have to accept both positive criticism and negative criticism because you serve the public. Not everybody would want to please you, and others will want to see the negativity in you. So you should be able to accommodate both sides of the coin.
And Chairman, I did so. That is why I served for 14 and a half years at the Technical University of Kenya. I have been in university administration now, by the time I was leaving office, for 32 years. I would have not gone through those stages if people were describing me in the way somebody is trying to describe me. By the time I was going to the Technical University of Kenya, I had been in the administration of the University of Nairobi for 18 years. And my record there speaks for itself, especially my record towards public service. The kind of things I did in that university, that informed policy. If I was given time, I would have told you some of the great things I have done in this country in my name, Mr. Chairman. Today, students get admitted into our public universities through KUCCPS. There is a formula that is being used for doing that, called weighted cluster formula, which KUCCPS uses to admit students in university. I developed this formula in 1998 and had it reviewed in 2012. Today, we are talking about new formula for funding of students in universities. Before that formula came in, we were using differentiated unit cost, which is in the Universities Act. This was developed by myself when I was at the University of Nairobi at the request of the University of Nairobi management.
Thank
Two,
you.
if I can give just two more examples, Chairman, because thank you.
We have other candidates who have been waiting to be interviewed. So I wish you the best, Prof, and please don't take it too much when you are criticized. Just take it in your stride at your age. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I want to ask Professor Adam Solo to also ask you some questions. Prof.
Professor Dual, I can understand your emotions because we want a process of integrity. And therefore, when your integrity is questioned and you believe in integrity, you'll defend it to the hilt. As a panel, we took an oath to be fair, each of us individually. And therefore, each of us individually will seek fairness as per our oath. As a panel, it is our rules of procedure that when a memorandum comes against you, you should receive it. You are on record. In fact, the practice from the other who have appeared before us, some have even sworn an affidavit in response to those memorandums. Those are our rules of procedure. Let me refer you to the WASU memorandum. It is dated March 26th. It was received and stamped on 28th March. You are on record, and among the allegations include that gross incompetence, mismanagement, corruption, illegalities, many breaches of the law. It also includes leaving a pending bill of 13 billion. You are on record that our secretariat did not give you this memorandum.
I have established so, Professor. Yeah.
We have another memorandum written by one James Wanyoike on 28th of March 2025, received by our secretariat, stamped on 28th March 25, referring to the Auditor General report ended June 30th, 2021, in which you are questioned on. Did you receive it? It was received by our secretariat on 28th March.
It was not shared with by the candidate, to the candidate, Prof. Thank you.
We have another one here, not dated nor received, again from the Kenya University Staff Union, to the ESCC, but since it's not dated nor received, I wouldn't have expected that you received it. Did you?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Do you feel ambushed?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I feel ambushed because those are things I have no idea about. Completely.
Thank you. According to the laws of Kenya, the Auditor General report, as Mr. Tanui told us, has unqualified, qualified, adverse, and a disclaimer of opinion. The laws of Kenya further provide that an auditor's findings, especially when it reveals financial irregularities or illegal activities, can lead to prosecution through the various law enforcement institutions, namely the police, the ODPP, the DCI, and ESCC. Has any of those institutions, to your knowledge, investigated you?
No.
Are you aware on any live case based on audit reports when you are serving?
I've not been investigated, Mr. Chairman, on any audit report. No.
You are also aware, without mentioning names, that quite a number of vice chancellors have been charged in court.
Maybe, but I've not been. I've not been called.
Not you. I'm saying it is in the public domain that a number of university vice chancellors.
I heard something.
No, but don't mention names.
I heard something to that effect in the
But
press.
Francis Odhiambo is not among those who have been charged.
No.
That even after these audit reports, whatever their status, you served your 2 terms fully.
Yes.
And lastly, based on Tanui's question, not lastly, there was the mathematical that you wanted to explain on how you would help IEBC with your mathematical science. In 1 minute, how would that help?
Mr. Chairman, all these things we do about elections finally get reduced to 1 point: figures. We decide that so-and-so is the winner purely on the basis of figures. And if we have people who are not comfortable with figures, handling figures, you have a serious problem. And you gave me 1 minute. I would like to make reference to Kriegler report. There is a whole chapter there that is talking about how the 2007 election results were handled. It will give you an indication of what can happen if you have people handling data who are not comfortable with figures. When you have a situation where a candidate has scored 13,000 votes and it is recorded at 7,000 votes, and it is there live. The report of Kriegler is very revealing to anybody who is interested in handling elections, especially at the counting level, not just for our country, but anybody else. And this, in my opinion, is one area where a person who is comfortable with figures is going to be useful to IEBC.
On a light touch, we know the figure issue from a commissioner. Yeah? Anyway, that was with a light touch. Lastly, FCPA Tanui asked, but you didn't get a chance to report, that you are the only one who served for that long. The new one is barely 2 years. And that the debt, everything else, if you leave the good things that you mentioned in your opening statement, that all that is in your doorstep in terms of your leadership. Your response.
Mr. Chairman, I served the institution for 14.5 years. For 11 good years. I don't have a student strike. I don't close the university. The university runs punctually. Salaries are being paid in spite of great difficulty. The university goes to sleep in the evening, wakes up in the morning, and continues with its duty. And then I leave office. The university is closed, and I am being asked why. How do I come in? I'm no longer the vice chancellor. I may be a professor in this university. I am not the vice chancellor. So I cannot answer the question why the university is closed, why staff are not being paid salary. It cannot be made. In my time, people were being paid salary. In spite of great difficulty, I wasn't having it good. I have told you, Mr. Chairman, I am getting 160 million shillings, and my payroll alone is 220. And this 160 million is supposed to run the university. It is not even supposed to pay the salary. It is supposed to run the entire university. And I managed to keep the university every day. Wake up, run, go to bed for 14.5 years. And now I'm being asked questions.
No, thank you.
Why the university is closed.
Thank you.
I don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Chair.
Prof, do you still want to ask some 2 questions?
Professor, I know you are a man of letters, but the chair usually allows me to ask high school questions, so don't feel belittled by the high school questions. It's just our nomenclature here. Name 3 organs of the East African community. Yeah, of the East African community.
There is a secretariat. What is the other the things in the common market?
Okay.
We don't have a common currency. We don't have common. I can't remember just now.
Okay, very well. Kenya law overtime prescribes that there shall be election every 5 years. Between 1963 and 1991, there were 2 elections which were not conducted within the 5-year period. Which ones were they and why?
66 and 83.
Thank you.
Did he say why?
Oh, why?
Oh, why? I think 66 elections were what were called the mini elections because of the formation of Kenya People's Union Party and many members who were elected on KANU who went to KPU. Actually, every member who was elected on KANU who went to KPU. was required to go and take elections. 1983, I think, had to do with the coup attempt of 1982, which disrupted the program because the last elections were 1979, and we should have had the next elections in 1984. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you for your time and for the interaction we have had. We have done this in desire to assess your suitability, but also just to be able to engage you to learn about your vast knowledge and how that knowledge can be used at the IEBC. We do know that IEBC is faced with a difficult task in the coming intervening years to delimit our boundaries, and we are so much appreciative of the skill, experience, and the knowledge that you have shared with us, particularly in that regard. And we do hope that this will be brought into consideration as we finally make our decisions. So thank you very much. I don't know whether you have any question or comment to make, but just to say that the Secretariat will send the memorandum that have been mentioned to you so that you can be able to respond to them adequately. My apologies to you. It had not been brought to my attention that those memorandum had not been shared with you as it ought to have been. But we will ensure that you receive them so that you can see the words used in there and see whether you like to respond to them or not. But that notwithstanding, this panel will be fair to you. We will assess you in view of the responses you have given us. So thank you very much. Any comment or question, please?
Thank you, Chairman. I have no comment. I have no further question. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I came here hoping to be IEBC commissioner, so I'm still hoping that I will be IEBC commissioner. My parting word is this: I have done great things for this country. And if you see that I get upset by statements like this, I think this is absolutely unfair. The time of an interview is very short and brief. And if I was given time, I would have done much more justice to myself in letting you know the kind of person I am and the kind of person who has come before you wanting to be an IEBC commissioner. I promise you that if you find it appropriate to select me to be IEBC commissioner, this country is not going to be disappointed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Blessings to you. You have a notebook there, a bottle of water, and your certificates are at the door. We wish you well and God's blessings. Thank you. Okay, it's time for break. And media, thank you. We would like to ask that you give us some 5 minutes. We finish up. We have 2 more candidates. I think the next one is supposed to be here in 8 minutes. We'll push that to 11:30. Yeah, thank you. Asante. Friends, our next candidate is called Frederick Odhiambo Orego, and I ask that he be brought in. Have we seen his certificate? Okay, thank you. Welcome, Frederick. Please have a seat and feel comfortable. My name is Nelson Makanda. I'm the chair of this selection panel. And let me say it's a great pleasure to have you with us today. Congratulations for being shortlisted. And thank you for demonstrating interest in the position of a member of the IEBC, which we advertised on behalf of Kenyans. And so feel free. I would like to ask my colleagues there to introduce themselves to you. Please do. Linda.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Linda Kiome. I serve this panel as a vice chair. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you for your interview. Karibu.
Fred, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, naitwa Andrew Tanui, mwanachama wa chopo hili la uteuzi, na karibu.
Good afternoon, Mr. Olego. Caroline Kituku, a member of the panel.
Good morning, Frederick. My name is Adam Solo, a member of the selection panel.
Good morning, sir. How are you? My name is Nicodemus Bore, a member of the panel.
Good morning, Mr. Odhiambo. My name is Fatuma Ali Saman, and I'm a member of this panel.
Good afternoon, Wakili, and karibu sana. My name is Koki Muli Grigno, and I'm a member of the selection panel.
Good afternoon, Frederick. My name is Evans Misati, a member of the selection panel. We welcome you. Feel at home. We're just going to have a conversation.
So, Council, we'd like you to introduce yourself briefly, within 5 minutes, highlighting those significant milestones in your life and in your career that you think are helpful for us to know, and how does that then dovetail with your interest to become a commissioner at the IEBC. It would be nice to mention if you belong to any professional society, and if at all you have received any award or honor. Please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair, and members of the panel. I want to take this first opportunity to thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to appear before the panel this afternoon to follow up on my shortlisting and this interview. Chair, my name is Frederick Orego. I was born in Homa Bay on the 20th day of May 1974. Proceeded to Homa Bay Primary School, did my KCPE, and did my high school in Onjiko High School. Thereafter, I joined Moi University to take a degree in law. Chair, I did graduate with a Bachelor of Law degree in the year 1999, joined the Kenya School of Law program, and was admitted as an advocate of the High Court on the 26th day of April, 2001. Chair, I've been an advocate of the High Court. I'm a member of the Law Society of Kenya. I am a certified public secretary. And Chair, I've been in practice as an advocate either in the public sector or the private sector since my admission in the year 2001. Chair, after my admission to the bar, I did join a private law firm, practice as an advocate, largely around commercial litigation. And thereafter, I joined the Tourism Fund, a public corporation, rising to become corporation secretary. Chair, after that, I had a short stint working for Telcom Kenya, being in charge of regulatory and legal affairs. Thereafter, I did establish my private practice Orego and Odhiambo Company Advocates, where I served as senior partner until I joined the county government of Homa Bay in June 2023 as county attorney. So, Chair, that is where I am currently engaged as county attorney in the county government of Homa Bay. Chair, I have had a lot of experience in election matters. And that is the reason why I felt that I fit the bill to become a commissioner. So when the advert was carried out, I did take the opportunity to present my application. Chair, my experience is that over the years, in the election cycle for 2017 and 2022, I participated very actively in electoral-related litigation, appearing for this commission as an advocate and also representing parties who appeared in electoral matters. Chair, in the process of my career, I've also had the opportunity to serve as a resource person for a parliamentary committee that was appointed to review electoral laws in 2016, the one that was co-chaired by Senior Counsel James Orengo and Honorable Kiraitu Murungi, that did the amendments to the Elections Act in 2016. Legislative drafting. I was a resource person for that team that did the drafting, resulting into amendments to the Elections Act in 2016 and the Election Offences Act, also the amendments of 2016. Chair, I said that I've had experience working in the public sector and in the private sector. And because of this experience, I have acquired a number of skills that I believe will be of use to this commission. The first one that I believe is of great importance, Chair, is that I have had opportunity to be involved in performance measurement and management, which I believe is critical if you're serving as high level as this as commissioner of the commission. The second one, Chair, we know that public sector institutions largely, in terms of financial matters, are governed by the Public Finance Management Act. Chair, working right now in the county government, I've had the opportunity to implement the Public Finance Management Act, and I believe that skill is very critical to this position. Chair, the last one, and over the years, I've had quite some experience in terms of legislative drafting, and I've also had the opportunity to do policies. And I believe that that skill, public policy, formulation, and implementation, will also be very critical for this position. Chair, putting all those together, I have always taken the view that if you are to serve effectively, go for what I call the 3 Ps: people, process, and product. And I believe that if you're able to manage the people that you work with well, and you are able to come up with a process by way of documentation, then you will get a good product. Chair, I believe because of all those combined experiences, having been an advocate for the past 24 years, I believe I should be able to deliver on the mandate as a commissioner in the IEBC. Thank you very much. Those are my opening remarks.
You made reference appearing for this commission. I presume that that meant IEBC, not this panel.
Yes, Chair.
Please, Linda, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Wakili, what competencies do you think that the entire commission should have outside their educational background that will help you as a team in the event that you're picked together with the rest to execute your mandate? What key competencies outside your educational background will be necessary for the entire team?
Thank you very much. We all know what the mandate of the commission is. The commission is expected by the Constitution to deliver on a free and fair election. And Chair, over the years, we've been able to put in place structures. Now, those structures that we've been able to put in place should be able to help the Commission to deliver on its mandate. Now, one of the competencies that you require as a commissioner is that you have the ability to appreciate technology. Chair, our elections have got a lot of components around issues of technology. So I believe awareness in technology is very key. The second competence that you will require is that you will need to have people management skills. Chair, the IEBC deals directly with members of the public. And for you to deliver on your mandate, you must have very good people management skills, because that is what will be able to help you to handle political parties, to be able to handle candidates, and to be able to handle members of the public who are constant visitors with the Commission. The third one, and I alluded to it, is that IEBC is a public office, is a public institution funded by the people of Kenya. So you need to have skills in public finance management. You should be able to appreciate that we are holding this office on behalf of the people of Kenya, and the funds that are used for the Commission are funds belonging to the people of Kenya. So those will be my quick competencies that I will point out at this stage.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. I would like to ask Karen Kituku to also ask some questions, please.
Thank you, Chair. Council, welcome once more. Let's talk about, or have a conversation about the constitutional mandate of the IEBC insofar as the recall provisions of elected officials or members, representatives, is concerned. So, would you please detail to us, step by step, if possible, how the people of Kenya can exercise their constitutional right to recall a member of parliament once elected?
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you, Council, through the Chair. Chair, the constitutional provision on recall of members of Parliament is provided for at Article 104 of the Constitution, and it states that the people can exercise their right to recall members of Parliament elected under Article 97, National Assembly, and 98 to the Senate using the procedure that will be set out in national legislation. Chair, this is a matter that I believe I need to put into some context, because I think it's important taking into account certain developments that took place in respect of that provision. Chair, in pursuit to the provisions of Article 104, Parliament enacted legislation to give effect to Article 104. Now, what did Parliament do? Parliament enacted Sections 45, 46, 47, up to Section 48 of the Elections Act, outlining the procedure that the members of the public can be able to use when they want to recall a member of Parliament. Now, Chair, the procedure is, as set out in the Act, was like this, that a person who wants to do a recall would do a petition. That petition would have to go to court, because if you look at Section 45, it requires that a petition for recall must meet certain legal requirements. Now, one of them is that the person that you are seeking to recall should have misconducted himself, be in violation of the Constitution, or otherwise committed an offense that would not allow him to hold that office. Now, what the Act then says is that if you want to do a petition of recall, you have to go to court, get a court order confirming that the person you want to recall has breached those provisions that have been set out in Section 45 of the Act. Now, once that has happened, you will be able to bring your petition of recall together with the court order, but you must also collect signatures from that constituency. So let's say that you are talking about a constituency which has got 8 wards. You must get at least 30% of the registered voters in that constituency, and out of that 30%, 15% of those signatures must be from at least half of the wards, essentially meaning that you must have the diversity across that constituency. So if you're talking about a constituency, say, that has got 8 wards, you must have 15% from at least 5 of the wards. Now, once you've been able to do that, the Act then goes ahead to say that you can only be able to do a recall within a set period of time, 24 months after the elections and at least 12 months before the next set of elections. So once that has happened, you're supposed to present that to the Commission. The Commission is supposed to satisfy itself that you've met the provisions of Article 104, Section 45, and Section 46. Now, then, there will be a recall election. Now, in that recall election, it is required that the people who turn out to vote, you must get at least 50%. Now, that is where the problem starts. Because if you look at Section 46, it talks about simple majority. But if you look at Section 48, there's a problem because it now talks about 50% of the registered voters. Chair, there are a few other provisions that have been set out in Section 46 and Section 47. Now, one of them is that for you to bring a petition of recall, you must have been a registered voter in the election of the person who seeks to be recalled. Number 2, for you to be able to do the petition of recall, you must have a court order, which I've stated. Now, in 2016, I think, or 2016 or 2017, a group went to court and said, I think that was Katiba Institute. The Katiba Institute and team filed a constitutional petition saying that if you look at Article 104, and then you look at what is provided for in Section 45, 46, 47, 48. And Chair, I think it's also good to also note that similar provisions in the Elections Act have also been reproduced for recall of members of the County Assembly at Section 27, 28 of the County Governments Act. So pretty much the procedure for recall of members of County Assembly follows the same line, of course, with obvious adjustments to suit the circumstances of the County Assembly as opposed to Parliament.
Council?
Yes.
Thank you very much for that detailed outline of the procedure. Now, should you become successful as a member of the IEBC, it would be the constitutional mandate of the IEBC to facilitate the call processes. What do you see as the mandate of the IEBC in regard to the recall provisions in the Constitution and the statutory law?
I think the first time that the discourse around recall came into our political discourse was in Bomas. I think one of the clauses that was introduced at Bomas was the one for recall. And the Bomas one was very easy The Bomas one was that you come, 30%. Once you've got a list of 30%, you present to the commission gives to the speaker checks if that one is in order, then you'll be recalled. Then there will be a recall election. Now, when this mandate was now given to Parliament under Section 45 and Section 46, I think those clauses basically clawed back the right that was given of recall at Article 104. Essentially, it is near impossible to recall. So what the IEBC is supposed to do, in my view, is that we need to have a robust discussion around the question of recall. Because if you look at the Katiba Institute decision, there are propositions that were given by the court on how then that is supposed to be done. Again, there's nothing new about recall. It is being done in other jurisdictions, and I think we just need to have an honest discussion, and that honest discussion ought to be led by IEBC. We bring on board the political parties, we bring on board the politicians, so that we come up with a very clear framework that gives a realization of Article 104, but also protects the issues that the politicians were seeking to claw back in Section 45.
Thank you for that. My question was very specific. Supposedly, miraculously, a voter has bypassed all these handles, has gone ahead and petitioned. The court has granted the permission, has collected the signatures. So how does the mandate of the IEBC get, triggered? What's the role of the IEBC in that process?
Thank you very much again. Say that you've gone through that entire process, taking into account what the court had decided in the Katiba Institute case. Once the IEBC, once the petition has now gone through all those processes, that is presented to the IEBC. Now, what the IEBC does is to now call a formal election of recall. Now, the formal election recall will take the normal procedure like any other by-election. So there will be a vote, and at the vote, there will be two questions. That we want to recall Mheshimiwa so-and-so. Do you agree or do you not? So the answer is yes or no. So if the yes are more, by a simple majority, or 50%, as in Section 48, you will be considered to have been recalled. But if they are less, then you will continue to hold your office as a member of Parliament.
Thank you very much, Council. I wish you well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I want to invite Ambassador FCS Koki Grigon to ask you some questions.
Thank you very much, Chair. Wakili, I was listening very carefully about that that recall as a process, and I was wondering loudly about voter education. So I want to bring you back to voter education. The reports that we have indicate that the voter education that is conducted by IEBC reaches a very specific category of voters called the marginalized voters, and it reaches only 34% of that category. I would like to request you to specifically address yourself to the marginalized and what strategies you would put in place and how you would reach the other 66% of marginalized voters through voter education if you are successful.
Thank you very much, Daktari. Through the chair, I think one of the constitutional mandates of the IEBC is voter education across the board. Chair, I believe that one of the areas that IEBC has not done very well is this area of voter education and civic education generally. I perhaps might not be able to appreciate what constraints they would have, but if given the opportunity, I think one of the critical areas that I would wish to address is the question of voter education. The reason why it would be important to address voter education is because an informed voter has the capacity to make a very good decision, but also to address certain issues that we have a problem with as a country in terms of voter apathy.
Please focus on marginalized people.
Yes.
How to reach the 66% that is not being reached today.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to give a general background. But in terms of the marginalized, I think these are communities that are well known. And the Constitution requires that we specifically take care of the marginalized groups. And my strategy will be that we have got associations. We have got associations of the marginalized, persons with disabilities, marginalized communities. If I was to be in the commission, I would engage the associations that represent the marginalized. Why? Because they've got a very clear picture in terms of who their memberships are, and also, again, in terms of their actual requirements. So that in terms of outreach, but also in terms of development of the information to reach out to the groups. In terms of numbers, I believe that, and I checked out on the IEBC budget. Overall, I think IEBC in a year, in the last election, spent like 1 billion shillings. Voter education, voter outreach. And the surveys that have been done is that the outreach by IEBC is very low. So we need to think out of the box of how are we going to engage with partners who are able to help IEBC to do civic education, because we have got a lot of institutions that do civic education, but IEBC, perhaps one reason or another, may not have been able to reach out to them. So we will be able to use associations, use partners, and then also to just figure out how you can be able to raise more finances to conduct voter education across the board.
Thank you very much, Wakili, and all the best. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask FCPA, Tanui, to ask you some questions. FCPA, please.
Thank you, Chair. And once again, Karibu Bwana Orego. The county attorney office, is it a department? Does it have its own budget, or you are under the governor's office?
The Office of County Attorney is an office created by the Office of County Attorney Act by virtue of Section 4 and Section 5 of the Act. So we are under the executive and serve as ex officio to the Office of the Governor.
So you have a budget?
Yes, we do.
You do have your own budget?
Yes, we do have a budget.
And you have an accounting officer?
Yes, the county solicitor is the accounting officer.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
By the provisions of the Act, yes.
You've also engaged in procurement matters at Tourism Fund.
Yes, I have.
Okay. So Article 227 provides that when a state organ or any other public entity contracts for goods or services, it shall, and the word shall, it shall do so in accordance with a system that is fair, equitable, transparent, competitive, and cost-effective. Those are the principles that have been set by the Constitution. Appreciating that you will not be the accounting officer at IEBC, but you'll be providing policy direction and governance at the commissioner's level. So how would you, using your skills both at Tourism Fund as a county attorney, to help IEBC, which has been facing a lot of audit queries with regard to procurement matters? Thank you.
Thank you very much, FCPA. My view would be that if you want to streamline your procurement processes so that you can achieve the edicts of Article 227, you must have proper planning. And now, how do you ensure that you have proper planning? The first thing you do is that I think what IEBC is supposed to do is well set out both in the Constitution and in the Act. So the first thing that IEBC is supposed to do, and I think this is what really faces the new team that joins IEBC, first of all, you have to come up with a long-term plan. You do a strategic plan and say that in the next 5 years, 2024, I think the last one expired in 2024, from 2024 to 2029, these are the milestones that we want to achieve over the next 5 years. Per year, this is what we are supposed to achieve. And in terms of what we are supposed to achieve, this is our work plan. And from the work planning, you come up with your budget and you come up with your procurement plan. Now, based on your procurement plan, you are able to procure in time, you are able to procure in a manner that is cost effective, and you are able to procure in a manner that meets the minimum legal requirements. So if I was to be in IEBC, I would advise that we do proper strategic planning, annual work planning, and then the procurement plan is followed to the letter. That would be my advice to the Commission if I was sitting there.
What is your current assessment in as far as those specific aspects? Does IEBC have a strategic plan? Does it have a procurement plan?
I have seen that the last strategic plan lapsed in 2024, I think largely because there's been no commission in place to put one, but consistently they've had strategic plans before that. And I know that they also have procurement planning. I think one of the biggest problems, and this one perhaps may be beyond what the commission is able to do, is that when you have a procurement plan, it has to have a corresponding budget. And we have seen that one of the biggest problems that IEBC has faced is budgeting. We have seen them running 4 or 5 months to the election trying to procure very critical items. And we know, like right now, we know that we will need technology. We know that we will need this form of documentation. We know what we need. We know that we will need the voter registration kits. We will know that we need the EVID kits. We all know what we need. But the procurement takes place at the tail end of it. Now, the problem is that when we are doing procurement at the tail end of the process, number one, you are not able to get quality because you are not able to get time to do testing. But you are also not be able to assure value for money because you don't have time. But I think that problem comes from budgeting and making available funds for IEBC to. But if they could have this conversation with the National Treasury, I think IEBC, from what I have seen, they are really prepared, but the money comes late, bringing all the challenges that we have seen.
So what will you do? Because they have been having those challenges. So what unique thing that you'll bring on board?
I think the Commission just has to engage the national government quite aggressively, either through the National Treasury or through the parliamentary committee that is responsible, so as to ensure that the money is made available in good time. Because I have seen IEBC does a very good job in terms of planning and budgeting, but the money arrives late. So this has to be multi-sectoral. Parliament has to help IEBC. The National Treasury has to help IEBC so that they can get money in time and do the procurement in time.
Thank you, and I wish you well. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I want to ask Evans Misati to ask you some questions, please.
Thanks so much, Chair. Frederick, I also want to ask you a question around the area of boundary limitations. And I want us to create 2 scenarios. Scenario 1, where we are able to do the boundary limitation before the 2027, and also scenario 2, where we are not able to do the boundary limitation. Please create the 2 scenarios and populate them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Misati. Chair, I think this has been. I think this is a very live issue for the Commission to deal with now. Chair, if you look at the law at Article 89, it says that there will be boundary delimitation 8 years, 12 years. So we had our last boundary delimitation in 2012, so that our lower limit at the time was 2020, but our limit is 2024 for the upper limit, March. Now that is passed. I know that the IEBC presented a petition before the High Court to help determine whether it is actually possible to do delimitation, notwithstanding that the times have lapsed. That matter is pending before the Supreme Court. But Chair, I just wanted to point out that the issue of delimitation is a right that is set out in the Constitution. And right now, there are very critical areas that ought to be addressed. One of them is that if we are not able to hold delimitation, when are we going to hold the next delimitation? Let me try to explain. The Constitution says you do delimitation by 2024. If we pass 2025, how are we able to address that? Number two, there are a number of constituencies which were declared protected in the last election.
To you?
Yes.
Please, I wanted us to create the two scenarios.
Yes.
And state, particularly, we are able to do boundary delimitation before 2012, and these are the possibilities. And then we are not able to do before 2027, and these are the reasons. So in point form, so that we are able to move.
Thank you very much. In terms of looking at the law, looking at Article 89, the last date that we had for delimitation was in March 2024. So if you look at the Constitution as it were, the answer is that no, we cannot do a delimitation before 2027 because the time has lapsed. Number two, if we are able to do delimitation, Chair, and I think there have been interventions, because I think it is appreciated that because of the strict timelines that are set out in Article 89, we might not be able to get the opportunity to do so. Now, what that means, I know that there is a provision that has been tabled before the Parliament to seek an amendment of Article 89 to allow for the limitation to be done outside of the 12 years that lapsed last year. Now, if that were to be the case, it would mean that we have to put in place structures. And one of the good things that has happened, Chair, is that one of the things that came out of NADCO was that we have got a new Section 24B of the IEBC Act that sets out the procedure of how you can be able to do delimitation. So there is a law that has now clarified what is set out in Article 89, together with the 5th schedule to the Act, which sets out that the Commission can sit down, do a preliminary report, saying that these are the constituencies and this is how we want to delimit them. Now that report will be taken out to members of the public, we get public views, then eventually it ends up in Parliament and then gazettement. Now, Chair, I wanted to make a point that now there's a very clear procedure. The only problem is how we are going to navigate on the timelines on Article 89 and the strict timelines that are set out in Article 89.5 and Article 89.6.
Now, are we able to do boundary delimitation and then devise so that it can, those units can apply in the subsequent general election?
Yes, one of the restrictions is that if you do a boundary delimitation, it cannot be used 1 year. If the election is 2027, you have to do it before 2026. So yes, we can do, and then it can apply in the elections after. I'm just wondering whether we'll be able to get sufficient time to be able to do this. Chair, I know that the procedure of delimitation is, it appears very easy, because what it basically means is that you have got so many people in the country because of census, you divide them by the 290 constituencies, so the formula is very easy. But the problem that we have is how we are going to navigate the timelines that have been set out, and I hope that the Supreme Court will be able to get the opportunity to pronounce itself, or Parliament will be able to look at the provision that was laid out by NADCO to amend Article 89.
Thanks so much. Just to finish, what was the population quota when the Rigare Commission did the limitation the last time? Just a figure.
Yeah, when we did the last delimitation in 2012, the population quota was 133,000, or thereabouts, if I'm not wrong. Basically, we had got about 38 million people divided by 290 constituencies. But right now, I think we're at 165,000, the population quota right now.
Thanks so much, and I wish you well. Over to you, Chair.
So, Frederick, you're choosing to not to apply your engagement on whether it is possible to delimit boundaries before or after, and the challenges to that.
Chair, the truth is that the constitutional timeline has lapsed. So unless there is either an intervention from Parliament or an intervention by the Supreme Court, then really we are going to have a problem. But I wanted to give an example.
As a commissioner, what advisory will you give if you are invited to make advisory?
Chair, I would still leave it to the Supreme Court to make a decision. Chair, we have got timelines that are set out in the Constitution, and we've seen our courts make decisions that give effect to the realization of the right. One good example is what we did in 2013. The Constitution says that all elections will be held on the second Tuesday of August, on the election year. But we all know that we did our election in March of 2013. So if you were to, if the courts were to sit down to give a realization of the right, the courts can figure out how that works best. The other option, of course, would be to go to Parliament. But I also appreciate that there are many challenges. I know that this is a very live question, but I do appreciate that there is need for us to really look at how we are going to deal with the issue of delimitation, especially looking at, as it were, that some of the constituencies that were protected in 2013, I think there were 20 or so of them, which were given 20 years so that they can fall in within the quota. I think they have continued to fall down and down, and we really need to look into that if you were to fully apply the provisions of Article 89 in terms of delimitation and the quality of the vote.
Thank you. Ms. Fatuma, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Odhiambo, and while on the same issue, on boundaries delimitation, if IEBC were to consider what were the key issues that they'll need to consider when developing strategic partnerships with the stakeholders, just for purposes of boundaries delimitation. I've heard what you've said, but specifically, what are the key issues that they'll need to consider?
Thank you very much. In doing delimitation, IEBC is guided by the Constitution. Some certain factors are given. We have got 290 constituencies, and then we have got a population census. We'll use the last population census for purpose of determination of the population quota. The second thing that is important in delimitation is the cultural nature. So it means that if you want to have homogeneous constituencies, for instance, or wards, you have to engage local communities so that you are able to appreciate what their concerns are. So one of the partners that IEBC must be able to engage are the community groups, to be able to determine, community and cultural groups, to be able to determine what the unique circumstances are for a particular delimited unit, whether it is a constituency or it is a ward. The second one, I think IEBC must work very closely with the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics in terms of the population census. And we know that there is a problem, especially for the voters in the northern Kenya, because, you know, the High Court said that the way the census was conducted the last time did not meet the threshold, and there's a requirement that has to be done. So if that was to be done, then IEBC must partner with the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. The last one, because one of the other considerations is the geographical area. So we are not only looking at population, we are also looking at space. How big is the constituency? How big is the ward? So IEBC must work very closely with the surveyors. We should be able to work very closely with people who are able to help to determine the accessibility in areas where you'd want to do delimitation. So those are some of the areas that I believe that IEBC must get into strategic partnerships with if we are to realize a good delimitation process.
Okay. Where do you place resources in all this and sensitivities of conflict?
Thank you very much. I think resources are very critical, and I believe that by the time that IEBC set out to do boundaries delimitation, they should have taken care of the resource mobilization. But in terms of conflict resolution, Chair, I want to say that if you engage the communities well, and you give them an opportunity to vent out what their concerns are, you would have reduced the risk of conflict, and you should be able to come up with a very, if you really go out there meaningfully to engage members of the public and communities, you would have reduced the risk of conflict when it comes to, because boundary delimitation is very emotive, as we saw the last time, so you really need to engage the communities to mitigate on risk, to mitigate on conflict.
Do you think, just to finalize, do you think we are somewhere where we can say as a country we've reached a place where maybe our IEBC within the very short time we have can reach that political neutrality that is required for boundaries delimitation? Yes, I believe that yes, IEBC can be able to do delimitation when it's politically neutral. Why? Because that is what IEBC has been established to do. IEBC has been established to be an independent commission to carry out its mandate in an independent manner, in a manner that is impartial, and in a manner that is neutral. So if IEBC were to go out to do its work as set out for it in Article 88 and Article 89, yes, it is capable of achievement. I wish you well, Chair.
What is it that we are missing, given that we haven't delimited our boundaries?
Sorry, Chair?
What is being missed by the absence of delimiting boundaries?
Chair, you know the constitutional reason why we do boundary delimitation is because of the equality of the vote. It should be that if my member of parliament from Dewa is casting his vote at the National Assembly, it should carry the same weight as any other from Lamu West, for instance. Now, what the Constitution envisages is that each vote should be equal. Why? Because ultimately it affects decisions of Parliament in terms of legislation making, but also in terms of resource distribution. That is why it is very important for us to do delimitation so that in as much as possible, we have equality of the vote. And that is why it was made very easy. That if we have got 290 constituencies, and then we have got now 45 million, let us try as much as possible to fit within the population quota of 165,000, of course, give and take, depending on which category you fall in, 40% for the urban areas or 30% give or take for the other areas. But I think it is really, really important that we do the delimitation so that we are able to meet the constitutional principle of equality of the vote, so that each member's parliament vote is the same as any other. That is what we are missing, Chair.
Okay, I want to ask Kodemas Bore to also ask, please.
Fred, I'm sure you have worked as a county attorney for some time. And before that, from what we have seen and heard, you have also worked in ODM as a member of dispute and dispute resolution committee. Now you are asking for a position as a member of IEBC, and IEBC has frequently faced criticism from politicians following elections, with allegations of mismanagement and threats of being removed. And I'm sure you faced the same even when you are in ODM people are coming to say you didn't do this thing the right way. They even sometimes maybe want to get you out of the office. If appointed, what step will you take to counter this perception and strengthen the Commission's credibility?
Thank you very much. Chair, I have been a county attorney for Homa Bay since June of from 31st of May 2023. So I've been there for a year now and a half. And yes, it is true that in this last cycle of elections, I chaired the ODM National Appeals Tribunal, where we handle election disputes arising out of party primaries, and then subsequently also arising out of nominations to the party list. So, Chair, of course, I want to say that if you are a member of this commission, it does not mean that you may not have your own thoughts. The truth is that by the time you get to this stage, it probably means that you already have your thoughts in terms of what you'd want to do from a political point of view. But Chair, when you are appointed as a commissioner in the IEBC, you have got a scorecard. And that scorecard is the Constitution of Kenya. And the Constitution says that if you are a member of the IEBC Commission, what is your role? To deliver on a free and fair election. Now, as a public officer, you might have your personal thoughts. Those personal thoughts must be subsumed to the constitutional principles that are set out in Article 81, Article 82, but most importantly, in Article 73. Because when you take oath to hold a constitutional office, you say that I have subsumed my personal thoughts. I am going to serve in IEBC, and I am going to deliver on IEBC's mandate, Article 81, free and fair elections, Article 88, to ensure that we have free and fair elections. So, Chair, I want to say that when you take oath of this office as commissioner, you subsume your rights, you go to serve the commission on the oath that you take before the Honorable Chief Justice as a commissioner.
Thank you. And we received a memorandum, which I believe you also received it today.
Yes,
so
I did.
We will not be able to, you have not had a chance to look at it and reply. But maybe to mention, are you aware of the allegations of that memorandum?
Yes, I am aware of the allegations in the memorandum.
And can you give us a glimpse of what went on and whether it was sorted and how it was sorted?
Thank you very much. Chair, the memorandum basically raises three issues. The first issue that it raises is that because I am county attorney of Homa Bay, I am a political appointee, so I would be biased in terms of my decision making. Chair, I want to state again that notwithstanding what my relationships are, I am alive to the fact that as a commissioner, what my role is. And I know that that role is to deliver on free and fair elections, and the fact that I have related with my office as now would not affect my carrying out of my functions. And secondly, the other issue that has also been raised is that I was a member of the ODM Appeals Tribunal. Chair, I actually see this as a positive for this position. Why? Because when you are serving as a member of a party's appeals tribunal, the nature of decision making, the nature of impartiality that is required of you, the nature of people that you are able to deal with can only be if you are an independent person, if you are firm, and if you believe in the integrity of the electoral process. So I don't see that as a disqualification. Much more, I see it as an advantage. And I want to say that when I served as a member of the ODM Appeals Tribunal, and the record is available for anybody to check, I handled more than 300 disputes. The decisions that we made were confirmed on appeal either to the PPDT or to the High Court. So I sit here firmly believing that I did a very good job, And I think I can be able to carry that good job I did in ODM Appeals Tribunal to the IEBC Commission. The last allegation is about a case that I was involved in when I was working for the Tourism Fund. I have seen the allegations. Chair, I want to say that yes, there were allegations that were made against me. The matter went to court. I restated my innocence. I still do. The court decided the matter in my favor, and the case was dismissed. So I believe that I meet the constitutional threshold to serve in this commission. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you, Chairman.
Okay, I want to turn you to the only professor in the House at this time.
Thank you, Chair. Orega, I want to start exactly where Bore has left. And if I heard you correctly, the Constitution provides that a person who has held a position in a governing body of a political party in the last 5 years is not eligible, and that it is your position that serving in the ODM tribunals is not a governing body.
Yes, thank you very much, Prof. Through the chair. Chair, I'm alive to the provisions of Article 88(4). And one of the things is that you should not have served as a member of a governing body of a political party. Chair, the solace that I get is that this question is answered eminently in the Political Parties Act. And the Political Parties Act defines what is a governing body of a political party. A governing body of a political party are those who are elected into office to make executive decisions on behalf of the party. And I'll give a very good example. Like in ODM, that reference would be made to the party's Central Committee or the National Executive Committee. As a member of the Appeals Tribunal, these are ad hoc committees that are appointed specifically to deal with issues around dispute resolution, and once that has been done, that is left now for the other processes to take place. So I want to submit here that, notwithstanding that I served as a member of the ODM's Appeals Tribunal, I qualify within the meaning of Article 88.
Very well. It is in the public domain, after we interviewed some candidates who occupy similar positions, not exactly same title, but who occupy similar positions in political parties, and a group of political stakeholders indicated that such a person, even though they meet the requirements of Article 88, they deem them as partisan. Given that you are in a similar position in a different party, what do you tell them as per the law and the running and performance of IEBC?
Thank you very much, Chair. I want to say that the IEBC is a creation of the Constitution. And the Constitution is very specific and says, Article 88(4), these are the disqualifications. Now, one of the disqualifications is that you are a member of a governing body. Chair, as long as we've been able to demonstrate that the Parties Appeals Tribunal is not a governing body, that disqualification should not apply. But let me go ahead and explain again. Chair, we all have our interactions, and we all have what we have done up to where we are. And I want to say that in each and every step that you take, you appreciate the role that you are taking. And I want to reiterate again that once you've taken the oath of office that you are a commissioner, in the IEBC, you must leave the tenets of the Commissioner of IEBC. And what are those tenets? Those tenets are set out in Article 73 of the Constitution, that you must leave the honor and dignity of the office that you hold as an IEBC Commissioner and do your work as set out for you in Article 81 and Article 88 and Article 82.
Very well. In this panel, we have a council member of the Law Society of Kenya. We have a representative of the Law Society of Kenya. And we have agreed that the questions that Bwana Bore and me are handling, that I ask questions.
Correct.
Because we are on record. We wrote to LSK on the disciplinary record, and they furnished us with the same without pronouncing what they said. Have you had any disciplinary records?
Yes. I had a disciplinary case with the LSK. Must have been way back. It's probably 2005 or 2006, if I'm not wrong.
It is 2008 and 2007.
2007, 2008.
Would you like to tell us the particulars and how it ended?
Yes. What really happened was like this. As you can see from my record, I was in private practice prior. So what happened is that when I joined the Tourism Fund, there was a client for whom I was doing a claim. And this client, when she went to the law firm, by that time I'd left, I'd now gone to work in the Tourism Fund. So when the client went to check out, was not able to trace me. So eventually, when we were able to trace each other with the client, that matter was resolved. I think it was an adoption.
2007 or 2008?
2007, 2008.
Which one are you referring to?
I think they are the same. I think there was one by Jen Okello. And are you?
I'm talking of DCC stroke 189.
Yes.
2008 and DCC stroke 283 stroke 2007. So between those two, which one?
Actually, I can't place which one is 0708, but same set of facts. Yeah. Eventually, that is what really transpired. So when I left the law firm and I went into public sector, that is what transpired. Eventually, when the matters came up, we were able to resolve them, and I think the verdict that must have been given there that those matters were resolved, because I know that they were resolved. These were two clients who were just not able to trace me at the place where I used to work. So eventually when they did, I didn't take them a long time. I just need to know at the time that they had raised those claims. But I know that those matters came up, I did resolve them, and I was vindicated.
Very well. Part of the case in both the two cases is LSK is saying that you failed to respond to the correspondence from the Advocates Complaints Commission. Any response to that? Yes,
and it actually comes to the same point. Actually, the reason why I was not aware about these matters was because the correspondence that they were issuing at my previous address. So I was not able to get to hold this communication. Now, when I got in touch with this, I was able to resolve the matters, and those matters were concluded effectively, and I believe that the record will be able to reflect that.
Before I ask you my final two questions, Fred Orego is sitting where we are sitting, and three candidates have gotten the same marks. They are all lawyers. Some don't have any disciplinary record. One has disciplinary record, which has been settled amicably. What should guide us when it comes to ethics and integrity?
Chair, I want to say that, number one, what should guide you is the law. Accusations can be made against you what is important is that at some point in time, these matters resolved. If the matters are resolved in your favor, the law cleans your record. That is number one. But number two, Chair, I believe that I've got a wealth of experience. And over the years, I've had the opportunity to engage in electoral matters. Chair, I believe that I am able to bring a lot of experience to the Commission if granted the opportunity, essentially because the last 10 years, if I look at the period before the 2017 election up to the last election, I have largely been involved in electoral matters, by and large, either representing parties, developing policies, legislation, drafting, litigation, resolving disputes. And I believe that that experience is very good for this commission. Chair, I have appeared before the IEBC Dispute Resolution Commission, and I know how badly that commission is clogged. You will find that you have got 2 days. You need to resolve 300 disputes. Now, the chair is there. The last time, the chair, the late chairperson, was the only lawyer, I think, on that panel, in the commission. So he would chair. It was a total clog on the electoral process. So I believe that if given this opportunity, looking at my experience, having done pretty much the same kind of, I think I will do a very good job working for this commission.
Thank you. My last question. Describe a situation, if at all it exists in your experience, in which you faced a serious ethical dilemma. What actions did you take, and what was the outcome? If at all there is any such in your working experience.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think I'll give an example that relates to pretty much what we are talking about here. And that ethical dilemma arises from my membership and chairmanship of the ODM Appeals Tribunal, where some of the people who appeared before me are personally known to me, either because of relationship or because of work. And I said that the party sat down, the Central Committee sat down and said, Fred, you are going to chair this committee. What are you supposed to do? I listened to them and I gave them a decision that I believe reflected on the rule of law, impartiality, and I meet them even now. And they said, by the way, when we came before you, I thought that you were going to take sides, but we're really happy that you followed the law. And I walk with my head high. I have no regrets because I know that I did the work. And I believe that I'll be able to bring the same integrity to this process.
Thank you, Chair.
Fred, have you left a forwarding address at your last station of work?
Say again?
What lessons have you learned from the cases that were listed by LSK?
No, I've learned. I learned lessons that I'm living with up to now. One of the things that I really learned from this processes, the issues that our Prof has raised, is that in whatever you do, always know that if you do anything, it will come to follow. And I know that moving forward, I have been able to, Prof, I think those issues that you've raised were early in my career, and I think I've lived. I have served in a big corporation. I have served as county attorney. I have served as the ODM Appeals Tribunal. And Chair, if anybody had got complaints, they would have brought them here. They would have said, you did this, you did this. And I think that I will be able to bring that mindset to the commission.
So have you left a forwarding address at your law firm so that if people write looking for you, the letters are not lost.
No, that is a lesson that I learned, and I left. Yes, it is true.
Okay. Okay, Caro, you wanted to say something.
Chair, through the chair, allow me to just get clarity on one issue. Council, as a member of the ODM Appeals Tribunal, is it, I am not understanding, like, the allegations about the conflict of interest and your involvement with members of ODM and potential conflict that it could have, supposedly you become successful and you become a member of the IBC. Is it that when you serve in that body, you are rendering a professional service as a lawyer, or what is the arrangement? That is not clear to me yet.
In other words, is asking,
yes,
is tribunal a judicial body, like a court, or what is it?
A quasi-judicial body?
Yes. The ODM Appeals Tribunal basically listens to disputes between members. If people go to a party primary and they don't agree, or they believe that maybe the electoral process did not end up well, we sit like an election petition court, but at the party level. So that if you have got any issue arising out of the party primaries and you believe that you have been wronged, you come to the Appeals Tribunal. Now, the Appeals Tribunal is a recognized process, is a judicial process. An appeal rise to the Political Parties Disputes Tribunal, to the Chief Magistrates Court, all the way to the High Court. So yes, this is a judicial function, and we make decisions that are relied on, even by the Commission, in deciding who is the candidate for the party for a particular position.
So when you're serving in that body, you are rendering your professional services as a lawyer, or what? That is what is not clear.
Yes, I am appearing there as an advocate of the High Court with the expertise to resolve disputes, especially electoral disputes. So the party, they call on people from time to time. This time it was me, the last time it was Willis Otieno, I think before that was Apollo Mboya. So they just call on professionals to come and help in dispute resolution. So in terms of what we do, we basically do dispute resolution for the political party without, I really wouldn't see this one as a function that somebody would say, because you handle this, then you'll be impartial.
So that I get what she's really asking to. For you to be appointed, all those names you're mentioning, is there a prerequisite that you must be an ODM member? Because otherwise, every other lawyer could be called. Is there any prerequisite that you must be an ODM member?
I have looked at the rules. The rules that are applicable are the ones that have been given out by the Office of Registrar of Political Parties. They are rules that are set out for political parties appeals tribunals. It just happens that the ones that I've mentioned might have been members, but the party can actually appoint any person who has got the capacity to be able to do dispute resolution.
Okay. My next question is in reference to the Law Society of Kenya, the complaint. How many years have you been in practice, Mr. Olego?
24 years.
What is, as a senior advocate of 24 years of practice, what is your understanding of between disciplinary record, having a disciplinary record with LSK, and having a complaint?
Having a disciplinary record legally would mean that there was a complaint filed against you. People went for the hearing, and a decision was made. Either you were suspended, you were fined, or you were struck off the roll. But what happened in my case is that, yes, there was a complaint that was raised, and I was able to resolve it. So sitting here, I can say that is before this panel is a complaint, not a record.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Mr. Olego. I wish you well.
Thank you.
Okay, FCPA, Tanui.
Thank you. Just for my record, you say the governing body is defined in which section and which law and which section?
The Political Parties Act.
Political Parties Act.
Yes,
Section?
I want to refrain myself from giving you the section. I think it's in section 2. But if it is not in section 2, there are various references that are made on governing body. If it's not in the definition section, it most likely will be at the tail end of it.
Now, I have the Political Parties Act. That's why actually I was seeking your clarification.
Yes.
Because I heard you and I had to get it.
Yes.
It says governing body means the committee responsible for administering the affairs of a political party.
Exactly.
So
you have put
maybe
it
you can
better than I
explain
was
it.
trying to.
Yes.
Now, the committee that is responsible for the affairs of the party are usually what we call the National Executive Committee, or for ODM, the Central Committee. So those are that is the governing body of a political party. The people who are elected, so you've got the chairperson, you've got the secretary general, you've got the treasurer, the people who actually sit down and say, we are today appointing Frederick Orego as chair of the Appeals Tribunal. Or today we are saying, as ODM, we are getting into a coalition with this particular party. Now, that is the governing body. And that governing body is not the Appeals Tribunal. The governing body is the Central Committee or the National Executive Committee. And that is why I say that sitting here, I meet the qualifications of Article 84.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you, Chair. Just let me clarify something from LSK so that it's on the record, so that what Madam Karo has raised is well captured, that the letter from the Law Society of Kenya signed by Mwathi M. Kitonga has 4 columns. Column 1, name of applicant. Column 2, admission number. Column 3, disciplinary records. And column 4, practicing status. Under column of disciplinary record, if you have no record, they write no disciplinary record. And if you have a disciplinary case, as in the case of Fred, they now list DCC, which is complaint number this of this year, so that it's clear that that's what I was referring to. Let me go now to my high school questions. Fred, who is the current AUC chairperson? African Union chairperson, the current one.
The AU or the commission?
The one Honorable Raila Odinga contested. I've leaked for you the exam, but I can pass if.
There was a Foreign Affairs Minister for the Foreign Affairs for Djibouti, Abdullahi.
He's no longer Foreign Minister.
Yeah,
that's why I wanted the name.
Honorable Abdullahi.
Very well.
Yes.
What are the color brands? And let me just get the question correctly. What are the 3 main colors associated with the Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission, where you're seeking to be commissioner?
IEBC.
Yes.
IEBC, we've got predominantly, they've got green. I think they have a white background, and most of the writing is done in black.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Madam Cook, you realize men are not colorblind. Okay, thank you. I want to thank you for the time we have spent together, and I'd like to open up to you if you have any comment or question to ask.
Thank you very much, Chair. First of all, I want to again thank this panel for having invited me to appear before you. Chair, this has been very interactive, and I really appreciate the opportunity that you've given me to be able to interact with the panel. Chair, as a country, I think we are all very happy when we engage in processes like the one that we are engaging in today, because then we are able to interrogate the people that we are putting into public office. And Chair, I want to say that the reason why I really appeared before you here today, and when you retire, you'll be able to take as a consideration, is because I have been involved in elections, either as a lawyer or as a consultant or just as a voter. And I believe that the kind of skills that I have got, the experience that I have, the drive that I have, and the issues that I believe are a problem for the Commission are matters that I am able to address if I were to become a commissioner from day one. And I'm really happy. I hope, I wish you well as you continue with the process. I think you're doing a pretty good job for this panel. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much. Please remember to pick your certificates and a notebook and a pen. And even the water may be yours. Thank you very much. Blessings to you.
Thank you very much.
Wish you well. So members of the press, we would like to take a break now for lunch, but also to allow those of us that are of the Islamic faith to have a moment to pray. It's a Friday. Then we'll resume after an hour at 2:30. Thank you very much. Secretariat, please let the candidate who is waiting to know that we will interview them at a later time. Please give them lunch or something so that they are able to be comfortable.
because they told you not the first person to, right, go through it and all those things. So then when it comes to understanding, first of all, what's normal, what's not, and what you need to do, because majority of us would ignore and say it's normal, right? So when do you need to seek help?
You need to seek help when you feel that it is not all right. Okay. However, sometimes that distinction of what is okay, what is not okay is not very clear-cut. Yeah. And partly it's because we don't talk openly about our periods. Yeah. You only learn from friends. The curriculum is very thin on that subject. And everyone expects that as you grow, you just evolve into these things. And lots of your friends will have, gone through that without a big fuss. So if you are struggling and you feel that I don't think this is normal, and that will be both very heavy periods, very, very painful periods, then it's worth speaking to a trusted friend, your teacher, relative, to say, I think I should see the doctor, just to be sure things are all right with me.
So we want to understand some of the tests that are done just to ascertain what exactly is going on.
Usually we would start with simple things. For example, just running a full blood count to make sure you are healthy. There's problem would usually be that you come in with pain and bleeding. There is already a foregone conclusion that perhaps you're pregnant, you're trying to hide something. So that subjectivity and judgmental attitude is what keeps a lot of the girls away.
That's true. That's true.
There might be examinations that the doctors may undertake, but again, be aware if these are very young girls, some of them may be intrusive. So you want to limit yourself to things that are not very intrusive, such as just doing a simple ultrasound scan. It can show a lot of information. Sometimes they come back normal. Now, if the tests are normal, it doesn't mean there isn't pain, and it doesn't mean there's no problem. It just means that you have to redirect your thinking differently.
Okay.